offline, I was in Walmart and Brother Fam sent a video to the BRP offline chat. And he was like, "Are we talking about Will Ospreay this week?" and mind you, I hadn't heard that Will Ospreay said anything new. Right? Oh, shout! Right on time. Right on time. Number 9. Right on time. Number 9. Shout out to my brother. Oh, you got it. There you go. Shout out number 9. Shout out. Will Ospreay. I was like, I didn't hear
drinking out of a cup. I'm sure. I hope somebody spit in.
I said I hadn't heard anything. I said Brother Fan was like, did we talk about Will Ospreay last week? I was like, I know we did because I know I made a video about it, but I don't remember how in depth we got into the conversation. I hadn't realized that Will Ospreay had said, I guess I should say this. He was on a podcast and he was asked about WWE purposely booking shows.
Can I take that off the screen? I don't want that there.
AEW's biggest events. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a second. You late. Honestly, you late. We'll talk about in the flow. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll get back to that.
Stop Big Damon.
Only because on Sunday, NXT Battleground is booked as AEW Double or Nothing. They're happening the same day. I don't know if they're the same time, but so they asked Will Ospreay, how you feel about WWE booking against your shows, and Ospreay said that the fans tune into them regardless. He said, we smoke them in every field of wrestling, is what he said. We're just better. He said, I respect them. I respect every single one of them there. They're all vets. They all know what they're doing, but we're so much more of a better wrestling company than them. Our guys smoke them every single day of the week. I respect them all, but on our worst day, we smoke all of you guys. Now, the question that Brother Fam asked, which is really the heart of this, is are WWE and AEW doing the same thing? I guess, especially in regards to saying that one company is smoking the other company in the game. Because the question would be, what are the Sean Tragedy said they ain't lying, and I think Brother Fam, said they're dope at what they do, but I guess the question is it comparative? Are we playing on the same field to know that AEW is legit smoking WWE? And I'm not asking that on some tribalism shit. I want to know.
So the quote last week from the other interview, where things got messy and niggas was focused on one part of it, but the one thing Will Ospreay said was, I'm a better wrestler than anybody over across the street. Talking about WWE, of course. And I don't know if that was a lie.
I don't know if I agree with it, but I hear you.
No, it's not necessarily a lie, but that don't make it true.
So I think everything kind of goes back to, and this was a really, really good argument that DDM and I had offline one night, right?
He sleep.
Was
in the zone.
Mind your business and stay on task, please.
Damn. I'm sorry.
Nigga ain't been to work in 4 weeks.
That was funny.
Continue, please.
But
Continue.
but me and DDM had a really good discussion one night about what these companies do. There are different things these companies do, and certain things that each company does works better for certain people. My for instances are clearly CM Punk shines more in WWE. Clearly Ricochet shines more in AEW. I think it's just certain things, like certain teams, certain pieces fit in certain things. And because the fans that they both serve want different stuff, they have different appetites. right? We started the show talking about the OG internet niggas, and those niggas, the OG internet niggas,
Who, you and Cal?
nigga,
Me.
nigga, you and Daryl, nigga. But,
Shout out Duro. Peace to Duro.
right?
Peace to Duro.
Because if you go back to the show, I actually talked about y'all niggas at the beginning of the show. It's like y'all niggas is the first niggas on it, and was looking in the goddamn the chat rooms, and we know it was problematic, but to shoot interviews early and all that. But like those niggas, the niggas that kind of stuck to that path, them niggas are the loud minority that prefers flippy no sell wrestling. Right? And
Pew.
flippy no sell wrestling sounds like a diss, but I think flippy no sell wrestling heavily serves a particular audience, right? And to those niggas, there isn't a better wrestler on the planet than Will Ospreay. There isn't. He serves those niggas better for what they want than anyone. So when we talk about wrestling, yes, it's one thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? We all wrestling fans, yada, yada. But there is a divide on what the product, quote unquote, should be. And if that's the truth, then the best at one thing is the best at that thing. And then on the other side of the road, whoever's the best, you know what I'm saying? Because Roman Reigns is the best wrestler in the world to some people.
To some people.
That's just me.
Is there but like is out of the wrestlers on I don't want to get too in depth. We've got some other stuff to talk about. Out of the wrestlers on the AEW roster and the wrestlers on the WWE roster, Will Ospreay is number one.
To the flippy no sell crowd, yes.
No, I'm saying in like we're not the flippy no sell, and I'm not saying we're on the total other side, but like where does Will Ospreay sit if you take both rosters? You were trying to rank them best wrestlers,
As
one
wrestlers.
to whatever.
See,
I would say no one has consistently has as high level matches. If
I'm
you're
gonna
just
say-
talking to matches.
If
I'm
you're
gonna
just
say-
talking to matches, I agree.
I'm going to say this.
Mhm.
I like Pac.
He's great. He's great.
I think that they are, you know what I mean? Like it's not too much. There's not a lot separating the two, other than one gets the opportunity and another one is sometimes injured. You know
Well,
what I'm saying?
well, let me ask a question then, because you mentioned somebody on AEW who, and not trying to be funny, but Pac is kind of sometimey because he will be in AEW and he'll be home. What about? Shout out Vin. Piece of the Bulls. What about like who would be comparative to
And wrestling,
to Will Ospreay on the WWE roster?
that like in wrestling,
Who if Will Ospreay's number one, who's closest to him on the WWE roster? I'm not saying number two, but who's closest to him?
everybody's gonna say Seth Rollins.
So my question is, are we going based off of 5-star, 6-star match quality? Are we going off of
Type of wrestling.
It's a compartment of wrestling. It's not complete.
The thing to me is I feel like Seth Rollins can do what Will Ospreay does.
I think Seth Rollins on the
think he
WWE
used
roster. I
to,
feel like
but
Seth Rollins is probably.
I don't
put
know
on
if
the
he
best
still
match.
could do
No,
it.
obviously not anymore because of his body. But I don't know if Will Ospreay can do what Seth Rollins does.
No, he can't.
He can't.
He
So,
cannot. I know he can't.
Who on the AEW roster is going to be who's going to be coming at him with a spear? Pause that he can then be turning into a pedigree. Like there's certain things that Seth Rollins.
Rhino was on that last week.
Rhino was on there last week. Well, Rhino is not going to be wrestling a Will Ospreay for anybody's AEW world title. I think the thing is there's certain things because of WWE, and this is kind of where you get into the conversations of what separates one company from another. Like Seth Rollins has to be prepared for altering moves because of a person the size of a Roman Reigns or a Bronson Reed or whatever, where Will Ospreay, and I'm not saying it's disrespect, but like he's fighting a lot, like there's not a lot of variation in terms of like size of wrestlers. So a lot of his matches end up being a lot of like people that can keep up the pace with him.
Mhm.
Like he's not wrestling a lot of Bronson Reeds. He's not wrestling a lot of Roman Reigns. They're not people that are on that roster like that.
You ever watch figure skating?
Watch figure skating?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I watch the Olympics and all that.
It's specific sizes that go with specific sizes.
Right, right. You got to be in divisions, yeah.
So they do specific shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's ballet, figure skating, the way that they, you know what I mean?
I think the correct answer to the correct alter the statement that Will Ospreay made, he maybe should have said he's the best wrestler in his weight class. And for what he does, I don't know. The thing is this: Will Ospreay, you may be a great wrestler, but you ain't a star to me. And at the end of the day, that's nice that you can do all of that. And for what's presented on television by both companies, you may be right, Will Ospreay. As far as what's presented on television, you may be the better wrestler out of both companies. That may be true. But Will Ospreay, you're a snooze. And at the end of the day, your matches may be great, but Dominic Mysterio said something, and I had to agree with him. And he said, if I do hurricanranas and like, you know, all those high fly moves all the time, what makes it special to the audience? You do this all the time, Will Ospreay, and that's nice. I love it. It's great. And for the people who love that, that is great. But for what AEW is trying to position you as,
Actually, go ahead.
No, go.
So
go ahead.
no. My point was just if AEW has positioned him as the best flippy no-sell nigga on earth, he's in the top 3. He's not number 3. He's not number 2. He is the best flippy no-sell nigga now. But it's all in being comfortable with saying, I like steak, so I'm gonna go to a steakhouse. I like Chinese.
I thought you said stink. I was ready to say, oh, this the show?
Hey, that's the Blafties.
I don't know. I mean, I get that, but like,
I know what that thing is still like.
Statement implies that he's like the supreme.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, as a fan, when you imply that you're the supreme, that means that you're going to be supreme in all things, from not only your wrestling, but your presentation, your mic work. See, when you make statements like that, hold on, Ahmed.
No, I was going to let you land.
When you make statements like that, you have to be prepared for the rebuttal. And then you're going to come across people like me who are going to say, wait a minute now. This is cute what you do. And I don't discount what you do at all. But that is not the total sum of all parts. Okay? You saying you're the guy. I had to agree with Dave Meltzer on this.
Who?
No, you're not. You don't look like a star.
He said you don't dress like a superstar.
But I'm sorry. I never agree with Dave Meltzer.
Who?
But I had to agree with Dave Meltzer.
Who?
Right. You can butt chant me all you want. Dave was right. Even a broke clock is right 2 times a day.
12 o'clock. 12 o'clock.
I want to say this though, that I think that his presentation is solely on the shoulders of AEW. Because when I used to see him, and Cuz said this the other day, when I used to see Son in New Japan,
yeah,
it looked amazing.
Yeah,
it
Big
looked
coats
amazing
with the fur and the yada me.
I don't know what it is. It's the same with Okada. Pardon me, Sean Tragedy. I know you like. It's the same with Okada. These motherfuckers are superstars or were superstars. Omega. The same thing. When you saw it, you knew that you were in for some shit because it looked spectacular. And then the shit in the ring matched the entrance. They looked amazing. I don't know if it's their presentation with AEW. I don't know if that's what they're going for. I think that obviously we know this is the wrestling company. I think that they're just focusing on that instead of the glitz and the glamour, because we've seen these niggas, and the reason why we started following them because they were stars.
Right.
Now, if you look over the last, I would say
Smitty, my bad, cuz.
Over the last, let's say 3 months, right? Over the last 3 months, in y'all opinion, and I'm not trying to push any specific answers, but who would y'all say is the best pro wrestler bell to bell over the last 3 months? Like Mania season, the stuff, wrestling.
Like in ring only.
Penna. Or Dominic Mysterio. No, Penna.
I like Penna as an answer.
Penna.
In ring only.
Penna.
My answer is Kevin Knight. Consistently, we've seen the best matches in everything. I mean, not WWE,
but
course.
he's been with some comp,
and he hasn't been overshadowed. He ain't making mistakes. These goddamn matches are, his part of these matches are 10, and he's working with all types of niggas. And he's over there. And I think it's the perfect place for him. Reason why is that is his, that he's in his lane. If they put Kevin Knight in WWE, he'd be at NXT in promo class, and he may never get out.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
My point of all of this isn't who's better, is that these companies don't do the same thing.
And that's fine. But the issue becomes Will Ospreay, when you run your
when
mouth,
he run his mouth,
and when you talk, because you're doing what your CEO does. When you run your mouth, you open yourself up to critiques and holes. And so when you say you are the best, when you start saying things like of that company and all of this, and you're in the ring and some ran over New Balances and a dirty white tee.
Wait.
And
why they gotta be ran over?
Attack.
You know,
I was just going to the store.
Today, let's talk about Miss Toni Storm. Toni Storm is giving you a character, presentation, and wrestling skill. She's giving you a 360, and she is on TV every week. So what's your excuse?
Is she does the thing that company wants, and extra. But if the matches weren't good, timeless Toni Storm wouldn't matter to that company. But she's having some of the best women matches. What I'm saying is, yes, I'm not saying those people don't like those things, but they don't value those things as much if it doesn't come in a wrestling package.
And here's the thing, and I understand that, but Toni Storm is a sterling example. Will Ospreay, okay,
he's an outlier,
a different haircut, okay.
What's his name?
Look corny, okay. You can wrestle your ass off. Nobody is disputing that. But when you start poking the bear and start saying that you're this and that, then you better be this and that in a 360 capacity. Because now you're now placing yourself in the same arena as the people over there. So
I disagree with that. I don't think he's doing that. And the reason why,
you didn't have to mention them at all. Because
but he doesn't lead with WWE niggas. They ask him about it. He doesn't lead with that.
They ask him about the pay-per-views, but yeah.
But this is where media training comes in that you don't get. Okay? You know how you could have curved that question? Well, what we do over here,
You mean like how the crash out did last week?
I mean, yeah.
Ricochet is killing himself online. You know how he could have answered that question, Will Ospreay? Well, you know, I respect what WWE does. I think what we have two different visions, and I think for what I do for the vision of AEW works for us, and it serves our audience in the way that they desire and that they like. You see how I just said that off the top of my head, and I'm not even in the media for wrestling.
That's bars. You
Okay?
barred up.
I'm not even in the media. I'm not a wrestler. I'm not on TV but it's a way. That's basic corporate working a 9-to-5 in customer service skills.
But that is an answer for someone who's trying to stay out of the headlines. But
you're in the headlines and you're opening yourself up to scrutiny, and then you get mad when you get the scrutiny and people tell you dusty.
I think that's just you. I think you the one just said he's dusty. I don't think nobody.
You know, the chat would agree.
Don't put it on. Sean Tragedy.
Dusty.
Yo,
Sean Tragedy don't agree.
Will Ospreay is fire, yo.
Yes.
Nobody said that he wasn't.
No. I'm not disputing.
You just said he was dusty.
Looking.
Hey, Will Ospreay, when you watch this, when they tell y'all not to fuck with us, we love it.
Will Ospreay. I can't wait to see the match. The thing is, Will Ospreay just looked like he came off the plane. Is all it is. He's not trying to do nothing but be in the tracksuit. That's what he wears. And I think that's when we talk about, because I think, fam, you hit the nail on the head talking about they're not doing the same thing. Where WWE, it's so much about what is your character and how are you representing that character, whether you're walking to the stadium to put your bag in the room, you're walking to the ring, you're online. Like, there's so many, they play it up so much where Will Ospreay shit is, my name is Will Ospreay, I like to wrestle, I'm going to have a promo with you at some point, and then we're going to go to the pay-per-view in a couple of weeks and have a fucking banger, whether it's the first match or the last match. Like, they don't do, and this is the thing, and this is why I hate when people, and I'm in a year, I'm trying to change this around. I hate when people are like, yo, BRP, don't talk about AEW right now, because it's not that I hate AEW. I'm not watching AEW the way I'm watching WWE. WWE, there's so much story and there's so much going on there where I get wrapped up in that. And then you watch the match and the match is going to progress you to the next part of the story. AEW, I'm looking for Ricochet trying to do a figure four with a nigga that got one leg.
Now, you saying ratings aren't everything, and I feel you, Cal. We want to
see.
Now, ratings gotta be something, because Will Ospreay out here saying foolishness out of his mouth to get y'all to buy tickets to that stadium in Texas that nobody's going to.
But that's where, I'm sorry, Matt. I'm gonna get
no.
But that's where lines get crossed, right? Because what AEW's doing, and then trying to be on some rating shit, like it's not going to be the same. Like they're putting on the wrestling show for the fans that fuck with wrestling. That's not going to turn into
it's wild niche. It's wild niche.
50,000 people in an American stadium watching they're watching AEW wrestling. Like they're going for the Japanese wrestling, the Mina Shirakawas, the Tony. Like there's certain things that are attractions for them that are not spectacle like WWE. That's why I don't view the one like the other. What were you going to say, Matt? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Nothing.
Well, no,
okay.
I agree with you, Cal. I think that's the thing. I think you can be niche, but what happens is you stay niche and stay you. But when you go and you poke the bear, because see, here's the thing. You need to be giving your pay-per-views away for $5.99 on Peacock.
Oh, yeah.
They said $50-$60.
Because
AEW pay-per-views
you
is pricey.
need the exposure. You need people you need to bring people in, okay? Because even NXT, CW executives just put their interview release statement saying that NXT has changed the game for them.
It's a game changer.
And that's their developmental show.
Yeah.
So I think AEW, instead of keep poking the bear, get people interested in the product again. Do specials on your pay-per-view. Nobody's paying $50 for a pay-per-view in 2025. Okay? This is not a Tyson fight. Okay?
Oh, I hope it's not a Tyson fight. I hope
Nobody's
it's not a Tyson fight.
You need to get people, okay, you're not worried about ratings. Well, the gas and electric company that's filing the lights in them arenas is the arenas want their money, and I know HBO Max want their money. So somebody's going to be worried about something.
Shout out to them being called HBO Max again. I think that's the thing, right? I can't, and this is why I have to look at them as two different products, because WWE is so much fucking Morgan and Morgan sponsorships, and there's so much going on in the WWE universe that, I mean, AEW has to play on a certain level because they're both wrestling TV shows vying for hours and eyeballs and engagement, all that stuff. But it's a different product.
Right. And to Vince's statement, he said, why does Twitter never dissect TNA's ratings and pay-per-view buys, but they have 1/10 the ratings of AEW? Here's why. Even before TNA got in bed with WWE, you never seen their CEO and their people constantly comparing themselves and poking the bear at WWE. At least I didn't. So nobody's gonna, when AEW said we the new guy, we the big boy, we doing stadium shows, we going overseas, we got the t-shirts, we doing reality shows, we doing all the things that they do. Well,
actually, what did they say at first though? What they say at first?
They said
the alternative. It's about what they did. They did things that made you compare them to WWE.
They did things that make you compare them. This
and
is the thing.
Because obviously their ratings to toilet because hundreds of thousands of people were doing the same thing.
That's fine, but we have to be honest here.
To a 5,000 seater.
But we just have to be honest about and the abstract. The is in ring, their products are two very different things. And AEW's product is what they said it was. They not lying. That's the thing. It's all, listen, all this expectation, and they did this like this, and they said we're the wrestling company. They put on the wrestling matches. Everything else is left to everybody else's. Well, what should we do?
If you were that, then tell your CEO to shut the hell up. Tell your wrestlers to stop bringing up the company that you are not in competition with. Why are we bringing them up? Because I don't see WWE superstars constantly bringing up AEW.
So this leads to something I shouldn't. I don't know if I should say it because there's an answer. Yeah, I'm not going to say it, but I will say this. There are not a whole lot of restrictions on what people AEW can talk to, as well as the things that they can ask and be asked back. So I believe, yes, if AEW is going to do a lot of different content where they're going to be letting the questions fly, and other places, it isn't the same. So yeah, when you go in and you're like, ask me anything, you're going to have to answer some questions that's going to end up spicy. You know what I'm saying?
That's what happened with Will Ospreay. The question literally started with, what do you think about WWE doing their pay-per-views this time at AEW? And it's NXT pay-per-views.
And you talk for the bait. And here's the thing. Since you wanna constantly talk about WWE, Tony, and this is for Tony Khan, nice man.
When was the last time he did that, by the way?
He does it enough. It doesn't matter. If you want to do that, then invest in developmental for your people. Invest in media training for your people. Invest in styling for your people. Those are the things that you should be investing in if you're going to say that we're this, that, and the third. The wrestling, you're going to do that. But if you want to if you're the wrestling show, then stick to being the wrestling show.
Because I was going to say...
what you was gonna say?
when you the new kid on the block, leave the niggas that's been on the block alone, right? That's when they launched, it was we the alternative, but they was throwing their shots. I respect.
But you outside though, like you outside.
They were throwing their shots. I respect it. So I understand what Dap is saying, but I mean, I don't really see Tony. I don't really see Tony Khan talking about him anymore. Sometimes some of his talent gets caught up in the mix, like this Will Ospreay thing. I don't see a lot of them going out there like that. You got Main Man saying some shit, and then you got Will Ospreay saying some shit.
Yes, Special Needles. How about that? How about that, Special Little Needles? How about that?
I'm gonna ask Depp if AEW's owner was more like Paul Heyman was with ECW, would you have a problem with what they would when talent starts to speak outside of themselves? Huh?
What does that mean? What do you mean? What does that mean? What
like Paul Heyman had he had a certain kind of swagger to him that made you like, you know what? Yeah, I fuck with this.
Paul Heyman wasn't a whiner.
This is why I said if AEW's owner was more like Paul Heyman, would you have a problem when they talk spicy in the media?
Paul Heyman was a gladiator. And to answer your question directly, I probably wouldn't, because Paul Heyman didn't whine in defeat. He wasn't whining. He was like, we're going to bring it to you. My issue with Tony Khan is he whines. It's giving, they tried to punch my talent, and oh my God, and
So the problem here, DDM, with your argument is just, it's not current.
It's my opinion.
No. I'm not arguing with what your opinion is. Your opinion is just 2-3 years old. That's the problem. It's like we sat in a press conference where there were some folks that tried to bring up WWE, as you say, and the questions were answered, but it was a turn to it. It was I ain't talking about it like that. Like he isn't. You are arguing a 2025 argument with 2022 Tony Khan. He doesn't do that anymore. So then when he doesn't do what you're saying he isn't doing, what's the problem?
Hold my beer.
We got it.
What, are you listening to him say it again? Or
he read the transcript. Yeah, I don't know what the end result's going to be, because Sunday. It's an NXT pay-per-view and it's an AEW pay-per-view. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday.
And the playoffs on
Memorial Day weekend Sunday.
The playoffs is on.
Is the games on Sunday?
I stopped watching playoffs when they start cheating for the Knicks.
How did that nigga was bleeding?
5 months ago, AEW Full Gear presser.
That where we was at.
Tony Khan on WWE ID conventions, Kenny Omega, Ricky Starks, and more. This was 5 months ago.
And what did he say? Now, I don't know if we can play that audio, brother.
Right.
You trying to get us shut down.
Right. And so I'm not going to play the audio, but that was 5 months ago.
Hey, Dad.
Well, we were there.
Right.
We were there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dad. How you use Tony Khan need to get some basically say Tony Khan need to start training his talent, and then slander Jay Cargill when I use that same argument.
Oh man.
So we can have this argument too. If you want to argue tonight, we can do that. Let's do it. Why not? Let's do it.
I don't.
Say it again. No, you did, because you brought it up.
No, I don't.
You missed me.
I
did.
did.